Hello everyone, Edward here, bringing you a special message. Today is May 12th. This marks the start of the popular children's book series, the Railway series. During its 42-book span, we were introduced to the wonderful cast of characters ranging from the kind old Edward to the ever-popular Thomas the Tank Engine. This episode of Thomas's model Misadventures was made to honour the life, legacy that Reverend Awdry left behind. So sit back, grab a snack, and enjoy as we bring to you Thomas's model Misadventures, a trip down memory lane.
Dear Christopher, here is your friend Thomas the Tank Engine. He wanted to come out of his station yard and see the world. These stories tell you how he did it. I hope you will like them because you helped me to make them. Your loving Daddy. One cold winter's night, Percy and Toby were resting in their sheds. It had been a busy day, and the conversation was lively as the two chatted away. Have you heard? The big engines had a book written about them. The 3 railway engines, they call it. As if they weren't already too big for their tenders.
It'll certainly help boost tourism. I feel we'll be busier than ever.
We'll be busy, more likely. Edward told me it all started when a particular visitor took interest in our railway. Some years ago, a young reverend visited the island on holiday. As he toured the island's sights, he rode the island railway's trains to and fro. He saw an old engine brought out for a day, a rain-shy engine get stuck in a tunnel, and even watched from a station as a banker engine was left behind after starting a stalled goods train. Some time later, when his son was ill with the measles, the reverend retold the stories from the island. He was encouraged to publish the stories, and he did, in a book titled The 3 Railway Engines. The engines on the railway were excited by the news, and wondered if another book might follow the first. I hear talk of the Reverend coming back to gather more stories for another book.
You must remember how rumors start, Percy. Why, one engine starts talking and then... Hello? What do we have here? Approaching the shed was the fat controller, along with a skinny clergyman the engines did not recognize. Good evening, Toby, Percy. I would like you to meet the Reverend Wilbert Awdry, author of the 3 Railway Engines.
Pleased to meet you, sir.
Good evening, Your Reverence.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to meet you as well. Your controller has told me many things about you and this branch line.
It's an honor to meet you, Your Reverence. We were just talking about your book.
And we look forward to the next one.
Excuse me, Your Reverence, but is there a reason you're here tonight? The Reverend smiled.
Well, Toby, my son Christopher and I sat down a fortnight ago looking over photographs of the island's engines I took years ago. He saw a rather cheeky-looking blue tank engine in the photographs and wants to hear some stories about him.
We're not lacking for stories about Thomas, that's for certain. Are you considering putting him in your next book?
Perhaps. What are some of these stories about him? Ooh! Start with his heroics with James! That was my favorite story!
How about his incident with a police officer?
Or leaving behind the train!
Or taking Edward's train? I believe one of his first escapades was when he tried to play a trick on Gordon. That's perfect.
May I tell it, sir?
Go ahead, Toby.
Well then, how does it go?
All eyes fell on Toby. This is the story he told. Thomas is a tank engine who lives at the big station on the island of Sodor. He's a cheeky little engine with 6 small wheels, a short stumpy funnel, a short stumpy boiler, and a short stumpy dome. He's a fussy little engine too, always pulling coaches about, ready for the big engines to take on long journeys. And when trains come in, he pulls the empty coaches away so that the big engines can go on rest. Thomas thinks no engine works as hard as he does. He loves playing tricks on them, including Gordon, the biggest and proudest engine of all. Thomas likes whistling rudely at him. "Wake up, lazy bones! Why don't you work hard like me?" One day, after pulling the big express, Gordon had arrived back at the sidings, very tired. He was just going to sleep when Thomas came up in his cheeky way. "Wake up, lazy bones! Do some hard work for a change! You can't catch me!" And off he ran, laughing. Instead of going to sleep again, Gordon thought how he could get back at Thomas. One morning, Thomas wouldn't wake up. His driver and fireman couldn't make him start. His fire went out and there was not enough steam. It was nearly time for the express. People were waiting, but the coaches weren't ready. At last, Thomas started. "Oh dear, he yawned. He fussed into the station where Gordon was waiting. "Hurry up, you," said Gordon. "Hurry yourself," replied Thomas. Gordon began making his plan. "Yes," said Gordon, "I will." And almost before the coaches had stopped moving, Gordon reversed quickly and was coupled to the train. "Get in quickly, please," he whistled. Thomas usually pushed behind the big trains to help them start, but he was always uncoupled first. This time, Gordon started so quickly they forgot to uncouple Thomas. Gordon's chance had come. Come on, puffed Gordon to the coaches. The train went faster and faster. Too fast for Thomas. He wanted to stop, but he couldn't. "Beep, beep, stop! Hurry, laughed Gordon. You can't get away, laughed the coaches. Poor Thomas was going faster than he had ever gone before. He was out of breath and his wheels hurt him, but he had to go on. "I shall never be the same again," he thought sadly. "My wheels will be quite worn out." At last, they stopped at a station. Thomas was uncoupled. He felt very silly and exhausted. He ran onto a siding out of the way. "Well, little Thomas," chuckled Gordon, "now you know what hard work means, don't you?" Poor Thomas couldn't answer. He had no breath. He just puffed slowly away to rest and had a long, long drink. He went home very slowly and was careful afterwards never to be cheeky to Gordon again. Telling stories about me on my own branch line. For shame, for shame. A tired but jovial little tank engine had just backed into the sheds. He eyed the visitor with perplexion. "You must be Thomas, then." "Number one and the same. Pleased to meet you, Father." Reverend Wilbert Awdry." "A pleasure, Reverend. Did you say this was your branch line?" "Indeed it is." "And how does an engine come to have his own branch line?" "Oh, can I tell this one?" "I think Thomas is most capable of telling this story." "I have my notepad at the ready. So what is this story about?" "This is the story of how I gained my branch line." "And how my number one became a really useful engine." "Well now, shall we begin?" Every day, the Fat Controller came to the station to catch his train. "Hello," he always said to Thomas. "Remember, don't be impatient, Thomas. You can never be as strong and fast as Gordon, but you can be a really useful engine. Don't let the silly trucks tease you." There were lots of trucks, and Thomas worked very hard pushing and pulling them into place. There was also a small coach, and two strange things his driver called cranes. "That's the breakdown train," he told Thomas.
The cranes are for lifting heavy things, like engines, coaches, and trucks. One day, Thomas was in the yard. Suddenly, he heard an engine whistling. Help! Help! A goods train came rushing through, much too fast. The engine was James, and he was frightened. His brake blocks were on fire. They're pushing me! They're pushing me! He panted. On! Laughed the trucks, still whistling. Help! Help! Poor James disappeared. I'd like to teach those trucks a lesson, said Thomas the Tank Engine. Soon came the alarms. James is off the line! The breakdown train! Quickly! Thomas was coupled on, and off they went. Thomas worked his hardest. Hurry, 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 he puffed. He wasn't pretending to be like Gordon. He really meant it. Bother those trucks and their tricks! I hope poor James isn't hurt! James's driver and fireman were feeling him all over to see if he was hurt. Never mind, James, they said. It wasn't your fault. It was those wooden brakes they gave you. We always said they were no good. Thomas pushed the breakdown train alongside. Then he pulled the unhurt trucks out of the way. Oh dear, they groaned. Serves you right, puffed Thomas. He was hard at work puffing backwards and forwards all afternoon. This'll teach you a lesson, he told the trucks. And they answered, yes it will. They left the broken trucks. Then, with 2 cranes, they put James back on the rails. He tried to move, but he couldn't, so Thomas helped him back to the shed. The Fat Controller was waiting anxiously for them. Well, Thomas, he said, I've heard all about it, and I'm very pleased with you. You are a really useful engine. James shall have some proper brakes and a new coat of paint, and you shall have a branch line all to yourself. Oh, thank you, sir, said Thomas. Now Thomas is as happy as can be. He has a branch line and 2 coaches called Annie and Clarabelle. He puffs proudly backwards and forwards with them all day. He is never lonely. Edward and Henry stop quite often and tell him the news. Gordon is always in a hurry, but never forgets to say, poop, poop. And Thomas always whistles, peep, peep, in return. And I have been on this line ever since. Now with some help from Toby and Percy here. You've had quite a big journey for a little engine. I wanted to see the world, and in my own way, I rather did. You would have seen a lot more of it if you hadn't gotten Edward's trucks stopped when you took them down Gordon's Hill that first time. Or how you attempted to pull Henry's train, only to leave it at the station. There's no reason to tell the good Reverend those silly stories, is there? On the contrary, I think he would most enjoy it. Well, after Thomas got pulled along by Gordon, he wanted to see more of the world. So one night, Henry had fallen ill, and... The stories carried on well into the night as the Reverend took his notes. Before long, the Reverend knew exactly what the title of his next book would be. Ladies and gentlemen, we, the cast and crew of Thomas's Model Misadventures, would like to take a moment to acknowledge the 80th anniversary of the Railway Series, a collection of children's books by the Reverend Wilbert Awdry and his son Christopher Awdry, which have shaped the childhoods of an untold number of people, including ourselves, and introduced many generations of people to the wonders of the railways. Ever since 1945, these 42 books have touched the lives of thousands of people across the generations. Thank you for the many wonderful years of Edward, Henry, Gordon, and Thomas. Truly, these stories make tracks to great destinations. We'd also like to take a moment to thank Britt Allcroft and David Mitton for all of their hard work bringing Thomas the Tank Engine and friends to life on the television screen. Both have since passed away, but their legacy lives on through the many wonderful people within the community and beyond. Britt and David accomplished great things with the resources they were given, and we couldn't be more thankful for them shaping many of us into who we are today.